Chosen one, stop what you're doing. Not in a moment. Right now. Because what just interrupted your day wasn't the algorithm. It wasn't coincidence. It wasn't your thumb mindlessly scrolling. Heaven reached into your afternoon and grabbed you by the collar. And the angel Michael, the one Scripture assigns to warfare, to protection, to the cutting off of access, has a word that cannot wait until morning. The next 72 hours are not ordinary time. They are a decision point, and you were led here because something in your spirit already knows it. You've felt it, haven't you? That low hum of unease you can't quite name. That weight sitting on your chest at 3 inches the morning. That quiet, gnawing feeling that something around you is off, something you can't see clearly, but you feel it every single day. That's not anxiety, beloved. That's a spiritual alarm going off in the middle of the night. And right now, there is a hand reaching for the lock before the intruder gets in. Because here is the truth that most people aren't ready to hear. The greatest threat in your life right now is not something far away. It's not a stranger. It's not some distant darkness. It's something familiar, something close enough to touch your peace. Something that has had access to you for far too long. Access to your thoughts, your sleep, your hope, your home. And on March 20th, heaven is serving an eviction notice. What is leaving your life in the next 72 hours may not feel like victory at first. It may feel like loss, like betrayal, like silence. But chosen one, hear this with everything in you. What feels like abandonment may be God cutting something off behind your back. What feels like emptiness may be a room being cleared for what's finally coming. The next 72 hours are not primarily about what is coming to attack you. They are about what heaven is finally refusing to let stay. If this message found you at the exact moment your spirit has been uneasy, type Michael, guard my house in the comments right now. Chosen one, I need you to stay with me right here, because what I'm about to describe, you're going to feel it in your chest before I even finish the sentence. Think about the last 30 days of your life, not the surface, not what you told people when they asked how you were doing. I mean the real 30 days, the one happening underneath the smile, underneath the "I'm fine." Have you been waking up between 3 and 4 inches the morning, eyes wide open, heart already racing, and you don't even know why? No nightmare, no noise, just this sudden, sharp awareness that something is wrong, and you can't name it? Have you felt a heaviness sitting on your chest that no doctor can find, no pill can lift, no prayer has seemed to fully move? Have you caught yourself replaying a name, a face, someone you told yourself you were completely over? Someone you forgave, released, moved on from, and yet there they are again, living rent-free in your memory like they never left? Have you noticed that certain conversations leave you completely drained? Not tired, not just worn out. I mean emptied, like something invisible reached into you and took something during that phone call, during that visit, during that text exchange. And have you looked at your finances lately, really looked and wondered how money keeps disappearing when the numbers shouldn't add up that way? Not one big crisis, just a slow, quiet, unexplainable leak. Beloved, I want you to hear this clearly. That is not bad luck. That is not old age. That is not just stress. Proverbs 4:23 says it plainly. Guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Everything. Your sleep, your peace, your money, your health, your relationships. Everything flows from one source. And when that source has a leak in the walls, one that nobody sees from the outside, the whole house begins to rot from the inside out. That's what's been happening to you. Not a dramatic attack, not a lightning bolt from the enemy. Something far more dangerous, something quiet, something that knows your patterns, something that has studied exactly which door you leave unlocked when you're tired, when you're lonely, when you're second-guessing yourself at midnight. This is not random. The pattern is the prophecy. Think about the cycles. How many times have you made real progress, financial, emotional, relational, spiritual, only to watch something come in sideways and knock it all back down? 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. A breakthrough followed almost immediately by a breakdown. A season of healing interrupted by the same wound, reopening in a different person's hands. You called it bad luck. You called it your lot in life. Some of you even called it God's will. But chosen one, the recurrence is the evidence. 1 Peter 5-8 warns us, "Your enemy prowls around like a roaring lion, looking for someone to devour." Not just attacking once and walking away, prowling, circling, returning, looking for the same opening it found before because nobody changed the lock. That's what spiritual recurrence is. It is not a new enemy every time. It is the same access point being used over and over again because it was never fully closed. An old wound pretending to be a familiar comfort. A revolving door of pain dressed up in different faces, different situations, different seasons, but always the same result. And here's the part that will stop you cold. The door is not always obvious. Sometimes the open door is a person you still protect, a habit you still excuse, a voice you still listen to that has never once built you up. Sometimes it's guilt you keep carrying for something God already forgave. Sometimes it's a relationship that ended years ago but still has emotional access to your peace. Sometimes it's a pattern of thinking, a script in your head that the enemy wrote so long ago you forgot it wasn't your own voice. Ephesians 4:27 says, "Do not give the devil a foothold." Not a fortress, not an army, just a foothold. One small tolerated access point is all it needs to keep the cycle spinning. And here is what heaven wants you to understand today. On March 20th, standing at the entrance of the next 72 hours, God has been showing you this pattern. He's been showing you through the sleepless nights, through the emotional exhaustion, through the financial leaks, through the faces that keep reappearing in your memory, through that quiet, persistent feeling that something is off, something you couldn't explain to anyone, but you felt it down in your bones. You're not crazy. You never were. God has been warning you. And Michael has been standing at the door. The only question left, the question that will define everything about the next 72 hours, is whether you're finally ready to stop tolerating what heaven has already marked for removal. Because what you call a familiar struggle may be a spiritual squatter living in a house that belongs to God. And the eviction notice has already been written. If you've been feeling that something keeps trying to circle back into your life, say it right now, out loud or in the comments. No more access. Because what's coming next will show you exactly what has had that access and why heaven refused to let it stay one more season. Chosen one. Before we go any deeper into what these next 72 hours mean for your life, you need to understand exactly who sent this warning. Because Michael is not who most people think he is. We have softened him, decorated him, hung him on walls in gold frames with gentle wings and a peaceful expression. We have made him into something beautiful and distant and unthreatening. But that is not the Michael of Scripture. Michael does not arrive as decoration. In Daniel chapter 10, Michael comes as a warrior who broke through 21 days of spiritual resistance to deliver a single message. In Revelation chapter 12, Michael leads the army that cast Satan himself out of heaven. In Jude verse 9, Michael contends directly with the devil over the body of Moses. This is not a gentle figure. This is not a comfort angel. Michael appears where there is conflict, where there is resistance, where something has invaded territory that belongs to God. And right now, on March 20th, Michael has been dispatched to the perimeter of your life, not to soothe you, not to tell you everything is fine, to sweep the house. Think of blue fire moving along the edges of everything you own, everything you love, everything you have allowed inside your walls, not destroying what belongs, burning off what doesn't. That is what is happening in the spirit right now. And here is what you must hear, even if it makes you uncomfortable. This is not a soft message because you are not in a soft moment. You have been asking God for peace. You have been praying for rest. You have been on your knees asking why the weight won't lift, why the same pain keeps returning, why you feel drained in places that should feel full. And heaven's answer is not a lullaby. Heaven's answer is exposure. Because you cannot have genuine peace while something corrosive still has a key to your front door. When heaven has to send a warning this urgent, it means something has already gone too far. It means the situation has reached a point where God will no longer allow it to continue without direct intervention. Protection does not always arrive looking peaceful. Sometimes protection looks like disruption. Sometimes mercy shows up as interruption. Sometimes the most loving thing God can do is walk into your life like a surgeon, not reaching for the bandage first, but reaching for the scalpel. The surgeon cuts before he heals. The sword rises before the sunrise. And right now, God is not skipping the surgery just because you are afraid of the process. Chosen one, I need you to sit with this next thought, because this is where most people miss it entirely. Some of what you have called love God is cutting off. Some of what you have called loyalty, God is severing. Some of what you have called obligation, history, family, friendship, commitment. Some of it has become the very chain that heaven is breaking right now. And the reason it hurts so deeply is because it is familiar. You have held it so long it feels like part of you. You have defended it so consistently that releasing it feels like betrayal. But chosen one, ask yourself this question and answer it honestly. Has what you've been protecting you back? Or has it been quietly draining you, year after year, season after season, leaving you tired in places that no vacation can touch, empty in ways that no conversation can fill? The enemy does not always come in looking like an enemy. Sometimes the thing assigned to hold you back looks like someone who needs you. Sometimes the door that heaven is closing looks like the only door you have. That is exactly why Michael was sent. Not because you are weak, but because the deception has been sophisticated enough to fool even your discernment. A blessing cannot fully enter a house that still gives shelter to what drains it. Read that again. Let it settle into your bones. You have been wondering why certain promises feel delayed. You have been confused about why prayers that should have been answered still hang in the air. And the answer is not that God forgot. The answer is that the room is not yet clear. Heaven is not withholding the blessing. Heaven is preparing the space. And the preparation right now, in these 72 hours, looks like removal, like severance, like the door finally closing on something you kept leaving open. This is Michael's assignment over your life in this moment. Not comfort first, protection first, not peace first, exposure first, not the blessing first, the clearing first. So before you ask God to bring something new, chosen one, pause right now and ask yourself the harder question. What have I been protecting that God has been trying to remove? What familiar face, what comfortable habit, what long-standing arrangement have you been defending even from God himself? Because what happens in the next 72 hours depends far less on what is coming toward you, and far more on what you are finally willing to let go. And what you are about to discover is that what God is removing was never yours to carry in the first place. Chosen one, stay with me, because what I'm about to say next is the part most people aren't ready to hear. The warning Michael carries isn't only about what's coming from the outside, it's about what's already inside the gate. You've been praying for breakthrough. You've been believing for a new season. You've been asking God why the door won't fully open. And all this time, the answer wasn't about the door. It was about who still had the key. Think about this carefully. There are people in your life right now, some of them close, some of them familiar, some of them tied to you by blood or history or years of shared memory, and they are not carrying your future. They are carrying your old ceiling. They don't announce it. They don't show up with hostility. They show up with a phone call, a text, a familiar voice, a need, a memory, a guilt trip wrapped in a smile. And every single time you begin to rise, they appear. Every time clarity starts to come, they call with confusion. Every time your faith begins to build momentum, they arrive with doubt, disguised as concern. Every time you are 3 steps away from the next level God has prepared, something pulls you back into the emotional gravity of who you used to be. That is not coincidence, beloved. That is an invisible cord. And Proverbs 13:20 doesn't whisper this. It declares it plainly. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Not a stranger, a companion, someone walking beside you. Now ask yourself honestly, who in your life consistently leaves you more drained than when they found you? Who calls only when you're gaining ground? Who celebrates you publicly but subtly reminds you of your failures privately? Who makes you feel guilty for growing? Who needs your empathy so constantly that there is never any room left for your own healing? That is a hand in your pocket while smiling at your face. And here is what makes this the most dangerous kind of sabotage. It doesn't feel like an attack. It feels like love. It feels like loyalty. It feels like you would be a cold, ungrateful person to pull away. The enemy understood something a long time ago. He cannot always break you with pain, but he can exhaust you with obligation. He will use the person you feel most responsible for. He will use the relationship you feel most guilty leaving. He will use nostalgia, those memories of who someone once was, to keep you emotionally bonded to someone God already released from your assignment. This is what a vine around a foundation looks like. On the surface, it appears connected, even beautiful, but underneath, it is slowly pulling the structure apart. And Jesus himself addressed this with a sharpness that shocked his own disciples. In Matthew 10:36, he said, "A man's enemies will be the members of his own household, not the world." The household, the familiar, the close, the trusted. Now I need you to sit with something that may be the most uncomfortable truth in this entire message. Not everyone who misses you is meant to re-enter your life. Some people don't miss you. They miss their access to your energy. They miss having someone to pour their chaos into. They miss having a person who absorbs their resentment without ever naming it. They miss the version of you that was too broken, too tired, or too guilty to say no. And when you started healing, when you started standing taller, praying louder, believing bigger, something in them shifted. Because your growth exposed their stagnation. And instead of celebrating it, something deep in them began to quietly, unconsciously work against it. This is not always malicious. Sometimes they don't even know they're doing it. But chosen one, the spiritual impact is the same, whether the knife is held consciously or not. The question is not whether they mean harm. The question is, what does their presence consistently produce in your spirit? Peace or confusion, clarity or self-doubt, courage or shrinking. Because the Holy Spirit is not complicated, he is precise. And if you have felt that quiet, persistent nudge, that soft but unmistakable check in your spirit, every time a certain name appears on your phone, that is not paranoia, that is discernment. And discernment is a gift you have been dismissing as guilt for far too long. A house key that should have been taken back years ago doesn't stop working just because time passed. It still opens the door. It still gives access. And access is exactly what this season is calling you to revoke. The sabotage was not always loud. It didn't arrive wearing a mask. It arrived wearing your history, your compassion, your fear of being alone, your need to be needed. It survived this long because it felt familiar. And now, right now, on the edge of March 20th, heaven is saying the familiar is not always the holy. And what feels like loyalty may actually be the last chain keeping you from the life God has already unlocked. So, here is the question you cannot afford to avoid any longer. Who still has a key to a door God already told you to change the locks on? Because in the next section, Michael's warning goes even deeper. And what heaven is preparing to remove goes beyond people. It reaches into the patterns, the agreements, and the ancient access points you may not even realize you're still carrying. Chosen one, I need you to stay with me right here. Because what I'm about to tell you is not a threat. It is not manipulation. It is not fear-mongering dressed up in scripture. It is mercy. And mercy has a deadline. The angel Michael is not standing over your life with a sword raised in anger. He is standing at the gate, watching, waiting. And he is saying the window is active right now. Not next week. Not after Sunday service. Right now. In these 72 hours. And the question heaven is asking you is not complicated. It is devastatingly simple. Will you obey your peace or your loneliness? Will you trust your discernment or your nostalgia? Will you choose truth or the comfort of what's familiar, even when it's hurting you? Because here is what nobody talks about in church. Here is what gets left out of the pretty devotionals and the encouraging posts. Ignored warnings don't disappear, they reopen. Think about that for a moment. You worked so hard to get free from that emotional cycle. You carried yourself out of that dark season one painful step at a time. You finally started sleeping again, breathing again, believing again. And then slowly, quietly, the door cracked open. A familiar name appeared. A memory surfaced. A voice from the past got just a little too loud, and something in you started rationalizing. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe it's different now. Maybe God is bringing them back for a reason. Chosen one. Proverbs 26:11 says it plainly. As a dog returns to its vomit, so a fool repeats his folly. That is not harsh language. That is God, in his mercy, drawing the picture so clearly that you cannot unsee it. What the enemy cannot build from scratch, he rebuilds from your memories. And the next 72 hours are a test of whether he gets that access back. Let me name what is at stake, because you need to hear it clearly. If you ignore the warning pressing on your spirit right now, here is what becomes possible. Not certain, possible, because you still have authority to respond. That emotional cycle, you finally broke it, can reopen. One conversation, one text you shouldn't answer, one moment of weakness at 11 o'clock at night when the silence feels too heavy. That financial clarity you've been building, it can be derailed. Misplaced trust in the wrong person, the wrong opportunity, the wrong voice that sounds spiritual but is draining your resources and your energy. That peace in your home, it can be sabotaged. Not by a dramatic explosion, by slow erosion, by letting the wrong influence back through the front door because you felt guilty saying no. And perhaps the most dangerous consequence of all, spiritual numbness. That terrifying place where you stop feeling the warnings altogether, where the smoke alarm goes off and you've learned to sleep through it. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "There is a time for every purpose under heaven." This is the time. This is the window, and a window, by definition, does not stay open forever. Here is the truth that should stop you cold. Ignoring this warning does not create the danger. It only removes your protection from what has already been circling. The storm didn't form because you ignored the forecast. The storm has been building. The warning is simply the last gate before the flood. And right now, that gate is still in your hands. Michael is not saying destruction is inevitable. He is saying you are standing at the final gate, and what you do in the next 72 hours determines whether that gate holds. Can I be honest with you? Some of you reading this right now, you already know what this is about. You don't need me to name it. Your spirit named it the moment I started speaking. That unease you've been carrying, that thing you've been avoiding dealing with, that person you know you need to stop making excuses for. You already know. And that knowing that is not your anxiety talking. That is the voice of God, trying to protect what he spent years building in you. Isaiah 30:21 says, "Whether you turn to the right or to the left, your ears will hear a voice behind you saying, 'This is the way, walk in it.'" Heaven has been whispering it. Now heaven is declaring it. The smoke alarm is going off. The hand is reaching for the lock. The eviction notice has been written. The only question left is whether you will act on it or explain it away. For the next 72 hours, guard your peace like it is sacred property, because it is. And what you protect in this window will determine what you walk into in the next season. Because this warning is not the end of the story, chosen one. It is the doorway to something heaven has been preparing, something that cannot enter until what is occupying the space is finally removed. And that is exactly what we need to talk about next. Before heaven can explain what is leaving your life, it needs to honor why you held on so long. Because you weren't foolish, you weren't weak, you weren't blind, you were tired, and there is a difference. Chosen one, I need to speak to something that most messages never touch. That quiet, private place where you already knew something was wrong, but you stayed anyway. Where you felt the drain, felt the weight, felt the slow leak on your joy, and still, you kept the door open, not because you didn't know better, because you had already lost so much. When you've buried people you loved, when you've watched doors close that never reopened, when you've started over more times than you ever imagined, you'd have to even unhealthy familiarity can start to feel safer than holy uncertainty. You weren't protecting the wrong thing. Sometimes you were protecting the part of yourself that couldn't survive another goodbye. Can I be honest with you? Some of you are not fighting attachment right now. You are fighting grief. Old grief. Deep grief. The kind that doesn't announce itself anymore, it just lives quietly in the background of every decision you make. And somewhere along the way, you made peace with the ache. You stopped expecting it to leave. You just learned to sleep beside it because it had been there so long, it started to feel like company. You started surviving on crumbs, not because you didn't deserve a full table, but because the famine lasted so long you forgot what fullness felt like. And the lies began to sound like wisdom. Maybe this is all I'll ever have. Maybe I'm too old to start again. Maybe peace is too expensive for someone like me. Maybe I should just tolerate this and survive. Chosen one, do you hear what the enemy did there? He didn't come at you with a roar. He came at you with a whisper that sounded reasonable. He dressed hopelessness up in humility. He made you call your chains being realistic. Psalm 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted, not far, not watching from a distance, close." That means God has been standing right next to you in every season you thought you were too far gone. Every morning you woke up exhausted before the day even started. Every night you lay awake wondering if this is just how life ends now, in quiet endurance, in managed disappointment, in familiar pain. He was there, and he was never okay with what you were settling for. Here is what nobody tells you about chosen ones who carry long suffering. You don't just hold on to what hurts you. You hold on to the version of yourself that believed things would be different. You're clutching old keys to rooms God already emptied. Rooms where promises were made and broken. Rooms where you gave everything and came back hollow. And yet you keep reaching for those keys in the dark, because somewhere in the muscle memory of your heart, you still hope the lock might turn differently this time. But beloved, God didn't empty that room to punish you. He emptied it to make space. And here is where I need you to stop and really hear this, because this is the part that changes everything. You are not too old. You are not too late. You are not too broken, too worn, too used up, or too far behind. The Apostle Paul wrote from a prison cell. Abraham received his greatest promise past the age of reason. Anna prayed in the temple for decades, and she did not miss her moment. She was there the day Jesus arrived. God does not abandon his timelines just because yours feels overdue. Isaiah 46:4, God says it himself. Even to your old age, I am he. Even to gray hairs, I will carry you. Not tolerate you, not manage you, carry you. That is not the language of a God who is finished with you. That is the language of a father who is furious at the idea of you spending one more season in chains he already broke. Heaven did not preserve you through every storm, every loss, every dark night just for you to finish your journey in survival mode. You were not kept alive to merely endure. You were kept alive to be restored. And restoration, chosen one, cannot happen in a space that something else is still occupying. That is why Michael is here. That is why the next 72 hours carry weight. Because what heaven is moving out of your life right now is not just a situation. It is an assignment that has been blocking your peace for years. The empty space that follows separation is not a void. It is not abandonment. It is not punishment. It is sacred ground, being prepared for something your pain has been too loud to let you hear. So, before we go any further, whisper this to yourself right now. I am not too late for real peace. Say it again. Let your own ears hear it. Because what Michael is about to reveal next is not just a warning about what is leaving. It is the first description of what is finally coming. Chosen one. What you just felt in that opening was not fear. That was recognition. Your spirit already knew something was wrong. You've known it for months, maybe longer. And right now, heaven is not asking you to figure it out. Heaven is handling it. Because here is what most people never get told in church, never read in a devotional, never hear on a Sunday morning. God doesn't just add blessings to your life. Sometimes He walks through the door first and removes what was blocking them. And today, March 20th, Michael's assignment is not comfort, it is severance. Let's talk about what is actually being cut right now, not in vague spiritual language, not in soft, careful words. Specifically, surgically, finally, that invisible soul tie, the one connecting you to a person, a memory, a wound that should have healed 3 years ago but somehow keeps bleeding, it is being cut. That recurring emotional trap, the one where you find yourself back in the same despair, the same shame, the same dark corner you swore you'd never return to, it is being cut. That guilt-based access, the one that lets certain people drain your energy, your finances, your peace, simply because you feel too responsible to say no, it is being cut. That financial drain that follows you like a shadow, that shame loop that plays in your mind at 2 inches the morning, that fear of separation that keeps you attached to things God already told you to release. All of it being cut. Today, Hebrews 4:12 says the word of God is sharper than any two-edged sword. It divides, it separates, it goes deep enough to cut what human hands cannot reach. And right now, that sword, Michael's sword, is at the root. Not trimming branches, not pruning edges, at the root. Here is what I need you to understand, beloved. What fed on your delay is losing permission. What survived through your guilt is losing its language. What sat in your house unchallenged, year after year, watching you struggle, watching you cry, watching you wonder why nothing ever fully changed. It is being served notice today. The cord is not being stretched, it is being cut. And you need to stop mourning what God is removing. You have been so afraid of the silence, so afraid of the empty space left behind when something familiar walks out, even when that familiar thing was hurting you. But chosen one, I need to ask you something direct. How many times have you healed from the same wound? How many times have you forgiven the same betrayal? How many times have you rebuilt from the same collapse? That is not a life. That is a cycle. And cycles don't break by themselves. They break when heaven changes the locks. Ezekiel 36:26. God says, I will remove the heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. He doesn't say He'll soften the stone. He doesn't say He'll work around it. He says, remove. That is the God you serve. Not a God who negotiates with what is destroying you, a God who removes it. And right now, in the realm you cannot see, there is a blue flame around the threshold of your life. Michael stands at that boundary. And what has been crossing freely, the harassment, the intrusion, the familiar darkness that knew your name and your schedule and your weakest hour, it cannot cross anymore. Chains are falling in a room no one else can hear. Heaven is changing the locks. And yes, it might get quiet. That quiet might confuse you. It might even frighten you. Because you've lived with the noise so long, the absence of it feels strange, feels empty, feels like something is wrong. But chosen one, hear me clearly, the chosen one is not being abandoned in the silence. The silence is what remains after the intruder is gone. When a thief leaves a house, the house doesn't immediately feel like home. It feels unfamiliar. It feels too still. But that stillness is not emptiness. That stillness is freedom you forgot how to recognize. Romans 8:37 says, "We are more than conquerors, not survivors, not barely standing, more than conquerors." And a conqueror does not beg the enemy to stay. A conqueror watches them go and then walks forward into what was always meant to be theirs. That is where you are standing right now, on the other side of the cut. On the morning after the eviction, at the threshold of a life that no longer has to carry what God already removed. And the only question heaven is asking you right now is this: will you reattach what God just severed? Or will you finally let it go? Say it out loud, wherever you are. What God removes, I will not reattach. Say it like you mean it. Say it like your next season depends on it. Because it does. And what comes next, what heaven is now preparing to place in the space that was just cleared, that is where we are going. Chosen one, something has just shifted around you. And if you're honest right now, it doesn't feel like victory. It feels strange. It feels hollow. It feels like you're standing in a room where the furniture used to be, and all you can hear is your own breathing. Let me ask you something nobody else is asking you today. What if the quiet isn't emptiness? What if the quiet is evidence? Here is what most people do wrong after God moves. They panic. They reach back. They fill the silence with noise, old voices, old habits, old people, because the peace that followed the cutting feels too unfamiliar to trust. And that one mistake, that one moment of running back to what God just removed, that is where the enemy has been waiting. Hear me, beloved. After God removes chaos, peace can feel suspicious. You've lived with the noise so long, the silence starts to feel like something is wrong. But nothing is wrong. For the first time in a long time, everything is finally right. The prophet Isaiah said it plainly: "In repentance and rest is your salvation, in quietness and trust is your strength." Isaiah 30:15. Not in activity, not in scrambling, in quietness. Think of a field after fire. From the road, it looks destroyed, black earth, nothing moving, no color, no life. A stranger passing by would assume it was finished, but a farmer knows the truth. That same scorched ground, in one season, it becomes the most fertile soil for miles. Because fire doesn't only destroy, fire clears. Fire burns away what was competing with the harvest. Chosen one, that quiet you're sitting in right now, that is your scorched field. And heaven is not finished with it. Heaven is just getting started. You know what's also true? Some of you watching today have been carrying something heavier than most people know. The evenings that stretch too long. The chair across the table that doesn't get used anymore. The routine that used to have someone else's name written into it. And sometimes when God removes something, even something that was hurting you, the silence that follows carries old grief inside it. Grief you thought you had already buried. Pain that surfaces again just because the house got quiet. Let me speak gently to that. Not every quiet season is loneliness. Some are recovery. There is a difference between a grave and a womb. Both are dark, both are still, both feel like nothing is moving. But one holds death, and the other holds life that hasn't been born yet. The silence around you right now is not a grave, chosen one. It is a womb. God is forming something inside this stillness that cannot be rushed, cannot be forced, and cannot survive the noise you just escaped. Luke 11:25 carries a warning so sharp it should stop you cold. Jesus said, "When an unclean spirit is cast out, it walks through dry places, finds none, and returns. And if it finds the house swept and put in order but empty, it comes back with 7 others worse than itself." Do you hear what he's saying? A house swept clean by heaven can be repopulated by hell if you don't guard the quiet. Do not fill a sacred vacuum with old voices just because the silence makes you uncomfortable. The new air in a room long shut doesn't feel like the stale air you got used to breathing. It feels sharp, different, almost too clean. And the instinct, the dangerous instinct, is to crack the old window again just to get back the familiar smell. Don't do it. What you called familiar was suffocating you. You just couldn't tell because you'd been breathing it for so long. Think of a surgery. The most dangerous moment isn't the operation, it's the pause between surgery and strength. It's the recovery room. It's that vulnerable, tender, in-between space where the body is healing but hasn't yet returned to full power. That is exactly where you are spiritually right now, and the enemy knows it. He will send you the exact voices, the exact memories, the exact familiar comforts, at precisely the moment you are most tender, not to restore you, but to reinfect you. Do not mistake his timing for God's provision. Chosen one. The silence is not punishment. It is protected space where God can build without interference. It is the pause before the promise. It is the held breath before the miracle exhales. Don't rush it. Don't fill it. Don't run from it. Sit in it. Pray in it. Let heaven reset your atmosphere. Because what's coming through the door that God is about to open, it needs a clean house to enter. It needs room. It needs silence to settle into. It needs you stable, rooted, and ready. And that raises the question you need to stay for. Because if the vacuum is now holy and God is rebuilding from the inside out, what exactly is he building? And what has Michael already been sent ahead to prepare? That answer is coming, and you cannot afford to miss it. Now, beloved, stay with me, because this is the part they never tell you. Everyone talks about the storm. Everyone preaches about the battle. Everyone describes the wilderness in vivid, painful detail. But nobody talks about what happens to the house after the intruder is finally removed. Nobody tells you what your life feels like when the thing that was quietly draining you for months, for years, maybe for decades, is finally gone. So let me tell you, your finances didn't fail because you weren't faithful enough. You tithed, you gave, you sacrificed, you prayed over your bank account at midnight when nobody was watching, and still somehow there was never quite enough. Money came in and disappeared like water through a cracked foundation. Chosen one. That was not bad luck. That was a breach. And breaches don't just drain money, they drain everything. Proverbs 25:28 says it plainly. A man without self-control is like a city broken into and left without walls. When something has unauthorized access to your life, it doesn't just take what it wants, it corrupts what it touches. Your peace, your sleep, your judgment, your home atmosphere, your sense of self-worth. You've been living in a house with a broken lock, and you've been blaming yourself for everything that went missing. Some of your blessing was never absent, it was leaking. Let that land. Read it again if you have to. The blessing was there, the provision was assigned, the peace had your name on it. But something in your life, something you tolerated, something familiar, something you convinced yourself you could manage, had been quietly opening the back door every single night. And now, heaven is patching the breach. Here is what begins to change, and chosen one. I need you to receive this not as poetry, but as prophecy. Your sleep changes first. Before your bank account shifts, before your circumstances rearrange themselves, your body knows. You will lie down one night and the weight will be different, lighter, quieter. The anxiety that used to grip your chest at 2 inches the morning will lose its grip. Your body will know before your mind does. Then your judgment sharpens. The fog lifts. Decisions that confused you for years will suddenly carry clarity you haven't felt since you were young. You'll look back and understand, with devastating precision, exactly why certain doors kept closing. Not because God forgot you, but because you were being protected from carrying blessing into a contaminated environment. Then your home atmosphere shifts. The people around you will feel it before they can name it. There will be a steadiness in your presence they haven't experienced in a long time. Arguments that used to ignite over nothing will lose their fuel. Your home will feel different. Not because everything became perfect, but because the invisible tension that lived in the walls finally has no place to stay. Then, and this is where restitution enters, what was stolen begins to come back, not always in the form it left. God rarely returns what the enemy stole in the same packaging. But Joel 2:25 does not stutter. I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. Years, chosen one, not days. Not weeks, years. The relationships that were poisoned by someone else's influence, restoration begins. The opportunities that were redirected by spiritual interference, new doors open. The dignity that was stripped from you in seasons of confusion, it comes back wearing the name vindication. And you won't need to chase revenge. You won't need to make phone calls. You won't need to post anything or prove anything to anyone. Because divine justice doesn't need your help, it just needs your obedience. Peace will stop costing you so much. Do you understand what that means? Right now, your peace is expensive. You pay for it with exhaustion. You negotiate for it with silence. You purchase small moments of calm by swallowing things that should have been spoken and releasing things that should have been guarded. That economy is ending. The wells are flowing again. What your life once could not hold, it will hold now. The house is keeping what it was always meant to keep. The restoration will not only be spiritual, it will touch your mood, your choices, your money, your atmosphere. Every dimension of your life that suffered under unauthorized access, every single one becomes a candidate for restitution. Because the true miracle is not merely that something new is coming in. It is that what used to steal from you can no longer stay, and that changes everything. So now the question is not whether the blessing is real. The question is whether you will guard it once it arrives. Because, beloved, what heaven restores, the enemy immediately tries to reclaim. And that is exactly where we are going next. If you are choosing peace over old pain, write in the comments right now, I receive holy ration and guarded blessing. Chosen one, we have come to the end of this message together. But before you close this video, before you set down your phone or walk away from this screen, I need you to understand something that every other voice in your life has been too afraid to say out loud. March 20 is not just a date on a calendar. It is a line drawn in the spirit, a threshold, a moment where heaven looks at your life and says, enough, not one more day. And the question that is burning in the throne room of God right now is not whether the enemy will attack you. The question is whether you will open the door and let him back in. Because here is what nobody tells you about spiritual warfare at this stage of your life. The greatest danger is not the storm coming from outside. It is the unlocked window you keep leaving open for the same wind that already destroyed your peace once before. You know exactly what I am talking about. That person you keep forgiving in the wrong way, not releasing them to God, but pulling them back into your sanctuary. That habit you keep calling a struggle when God already called it a chain. That situation you keep returning to because it feels familiar, even though every single time you leave it, you leave bleeding. Chosen one, do not romanticize what God removed. Do not call fear loyalty. Do not call exhaustion compassion. Do not call recurring pain your assignment. Lamentations 3:22 says the mercies of God are new every morning. but you cannot receive new mercy while you are still sleeping in yesterday's wreckage. The next 72 hours are not ordinary hours. They are revealing hours. They will show you what you have decided to protect. And what you protect right now will tell heaven everything about what you have finally learned. So I am asking you, with every ounce of authority this message carries, do not reopen what heaven is closing. The real emergency was never that disaster was coming toward you. The real emergency was that you were still considering letting old darkness back in. And heaven sent this warning today, not because you are losing. Heaven sent this warning because you are chosen. And what heaven chooses, heaven fights to preserve. Michael does not lower his sword until the house is safe. And right now, at this very moment, he is standing at your threshold. Every false cord severed. Every toxic access point closed. Every spiritual leak in your peace, your finances, your home, your mind sealed. This is the moment you cross that threshold and hear the lock change behind you. No return, no negotiation, no looking back. Now I want you to receive this sealing declaration over your life. Do not just hear it, let it land in your bones. I declare over you, Michael guards this house. No weapon of confusion enters here. No spirit of exhaustion finds a seat at this table. Every familiar darkness that used your loneliness as a front door, your access is revoked. Every financial drain tied to a spiritual open door closed now, in the name that is above every name. Peace is restored to this mind. Dignity is restored to this life. The cycles that have repeated for years, they end at this threshold. You will not confuse familiar pain with destiny. You will not confuse a draining relationship with a calling. You will not mistake the feeling of being needed by the wrong people for the feeling of being chosen by God. Because Jeremiah 29:11 still stands. The plans over your life are for a future, for hope. Not for you to keep circling the same desert because the wilderness feels like home. A guarded house at dawn looks different than it did at midnight. And chosen one, dawn has come. The sword of Michael is lowered not because the danger passed on its own, but because the house is finally safe. Because you finally said yes to the closing of every wrong door. Heaven's warning today was never punishment. It was proof. Proof that heaven still intends to preserve what it has chosen. And that chosen one is you. Now, right now, type in the comments, Michael, close every wrong door. Let heaven record your agreement. Let that declaration go ahead of you into every room you will walk into this week. And say this over yourself before you sleep tonight. Say it out loud where your own ears can hear it. I will not confuse familiar pain with destiny. Say it until your spirit stands up straight. If this message confirmed what you have already been feeling deep in your soul, stay connected, because this is not the end of the warning. This is the beginning of your protection. And if someone you love has been standing at the edge of a decision they keep delaying, send them this message right now, not tomorrow, right now, because the next 72 hours will not wait. Chosen one, the lock has changed. Walk through that door and do not look back.